Man, it's been a fun few weeks. As many of you know, we moved, which was quite the experience. Stephanie fell down the stairs. I pulled my arm off on a gate.
We like to make it a little more challenging than it needs to be.
Yeah, because a normal move just isn't good enough. So I had to dislocate my shoulder while she was spraining an ankle, so we could make it a little more challenging.
But that kind of brings us to what we're talking about tonight.
It does.
Good segue, babe.
So accidents happen.
No, that's not it.
It's how to have empathy for your spouse. And I think one of the first things is understanding that there is a difference between empathy and sympathy. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person, while sympathy is feelings of pity and sorrow for someone else's misfortune.
Which was what he was feeling for me when I sprained my ankle.
Absolutely.
He felt sorry for my pitiful state.
And you would have thought I would have got that in return, but
not so
not
much.
so much.
I whine a little bit more than he does. So.
Shoot. But the good news about empathy, and this is one thing when I was studying on this actually just a little while ago, is the fact that our Lord and Savior had empathy. It wasn't he had sympathy. He didn't pity us for being in a sinful state. He had empathy. And the Hebrews 4:15 said, "For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feelings of our infirmities." And infirmities is weakness, inability, shortcomings, frailty, or I don't even know what that one word is. Debility.
Debility.
What is just debility?
Just debilitating.
Oh, okay.
Debility.
See? That was a cool word, but that's what you get for just copying and pasting words that you don't know all of them when you put it on there. But Jesus, as our high priest, and I always loved when, I think it was Kenneth Copeland used to always teach the difference between the Lord, Jesus as Lord, and Jesus as high priest. Jesus is Lord over sickness and disease, but he's high priest over healing. So he's high priest over the answer
he's
to the problem.
administering the healing. He administers, and that's
and
the
the person that's administering,
administrating.
That's the way I was wanting to say it. Administrating is the one that actually feels for us.
Yes.
So since he has those feelings, then he's looking to give us the answer.
It's deeper than just an emotional or
Definitely.
a fleeting, because there's nothing wrong with sympathy and compassion. I mean, obviously we see things and you feel that in your gut, you feel compassion for somebody that's going through something, but when you actually tap into empathy, that's an engagement that actually allows you to step a little bit deeper into that and actually begin to sense what can I do for this person. It creates creativity in how to help them, I guess, is a way to do that. It actually becomes a force that operates in your life. And so with a spouse, it's obviously something that should be worked on and should be very prevalent.
Right. And for some of us it's easy because empathy for some people is one of their strengths. And when something's a strength, it's kind of like you just flow in it. It works really good, easy for you. Now, it's always something we can practice and get better at, but it does come easier than others.
Sometimes it's a choice, though, for a lot of us.
For
most of us, it's a choice. For those of you who I don't naturally feel empathy. It's not something that I actually grasp on a regular basis. We've got, within our own family, we've got one of our kids that actually has a gift of empathy. She literally can feel the weight that you're carrying.
So can you tell which kid it was? I mean, just because she said she.
I did say she. Sorry, the daughter.
Now you know.
She actually carries the weight, and so she's had to learn how to not let that overcome her, because she literally can feel the weight of what somebody's carrying. And so for me, there are seasons when I can feel that because of the posture, because of conversation, but it's not something that I immediately attach to. So for me, it's a choice to actually step into empathy and say, no, I'm going to sit beside you in this, and I'm going to seek to understand what this is that's causing you such angst and why you're feeling the way you're feeling.
Right.
And because it's not a burden that I carry, it can help me to lift that from you a little bit more.
Right. And I wasn't a person who naturally had any empathy at all. And if you've known me very long, you know that. I'm sure everyone on here, especially, Kendra, Missy, and even Candy, has been around me enough since high school and beyond to know that I wasn't a very sympathetic person, or and I didn't feel your pain. I wouldn't have ran out of run for president. But at the first of the year, it's kind of the word God gave me. And so as I started thinking on it and praying about it and seeking God about it, it is amazing how much more empathetic I've gotten.
Oh, you're way more empathetic than I am.
And, oh, no doubt. Even before.
Don't tell all my secrets.
So like Stephanie was talking about, one of the questions we should ask is who should be the one who lightens the load,
Yeah, I mean, because again, the whole point of Simple Space, or not Simple Space, that's my YouTube channel, of Pillow Talk is remember that we experience frustrations in our marriage because we don't have an expectation of what we're stepping into. And so with empathy, it's a choice that we make, but the reason we experience frustration is because we're not actually asking the right questions to understand what that could mean, okay? And so you begin to ask yourself questions. Recognize that empathy is something that every couple needs to get better at.
Absolutely.
And then begin to ask yourself some questions.
And because it's a choice, we can get better.
Exactly. A choice is awesome, because with a choice, it's all on you. It's all on me. We get to make that call.
Right.
So asking some of those questions, like you just said, who should lighten that load? Well, obviously, we should be able to lighten the load for our spouse,
Absolutely.
first and foremost.
And we shouldn't look for someone else to step up and be that person.
Yeah.
We should be looking to be the person.
Yeah, absolutely. Which means recognizing and being sensitive, which goes back to understanding your spouse.
Absolutely.
Understanding what are the things that are triggers for them that would cause them to experience some angst, and what does that feel like for them?
And then you kind of got to ask yourself, what can I do to add support in this situation?
Support's the key word, not fix.
Not
right?
fix.
Yeah.
And that's something I've definitely had to learn, and I'm not very good at it. I'm weak in this area because I'm a fixer. I just want to put my hand, done. Let's just do this and it'll be okay. Or I'll take care of it for you, and that's not always the case. Sometimes it's just being able to say, what do you need? And it's asking them that question.
Yeah. How can I serve you in this?
How can I serve you in this? Right, exactly. So, and then, another question is, when should I do something? And when should I just be that sounding board?
Yeah, that's huge.
It's very big. And I think it's big both ways. I think women kind of get more of it pushed on them that, that's how men should ask them. But it's the same way the other way, because if your wife steps in and tries to ask you or fix something or help you with something and you're not ready, that's when those very snappy moments come. Where you just want to take their head off, and then boom, now everything's falling apart. And hey, Ira's on here. Hey, welcome, Ira.
Well, like if you get a splinter in your finger, and I always think about when your kids are little and they get a splinter and you're like, hey, let me come get that out, and they're like, wah! Because you don't want anybody to touch it. And so that's kind of what you have to recognize when your spouse is going through something, and when they're up against something that is creating a lot of anxiety and distress, or whatever that would be, or physically, emotionally, at work, whatever that is, just stepping up there and saying, hey, let me fix this for you, you should just do this, or what's the matter, how can I help you? You have to understand that, if it's festering, even though you're there to help, you do have to understand, you may have to circle that wagon a few times. You may have to, you can't get defensive because they got defensive. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. In fact, that brings you on to the last question. How would I feel if I were in their shoes?
Yeah.
And you need to ask that question when they're going through something, like whatever, like if you've had a stressful day at work, well, how do I react? How do I feel when I'm under stress like that at work? That's very important. But we also need to know, how would I feel if I were in their shoes, as far as how would they feel if I respond this way? Right.
And how does this sound? How's this going to sound? And give yourself a chance to play that back in your head before you just blurt things out. You can wait a minute to say something and it's not going to go away, and it could very easily be the difference between agitating that thing that's festering and actually providing the release for that. Right. And those are some simple ways that you can just apply empathy and learn to grow in empathy in your life, in your marriage. It's really, like I said, it's a choice, and for most of it, it's not a strength. So therefore, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Yeah, sure. So the next time you feel sorry for your spouse or you feel something, maybe sit, maybe this will come to your consciousness now and say, all right, so how can I share in what they're feeling? And I'm not talking about, goofy feeling. I'm talking about truly how they're feeling. You're very good at that with me. When I will let things tend to really build up inside because I want to carry the weight of what I'm carrying. And he shared years ago with me, he said, Steph, he said, you got to let me take some of this because what's hard for you is a piece of cake for me. And he doesn't mean that facetiously. He just meant that's how we carry each other's burdens. But he has empathy for that. He can sense and he knows when the weight's getting too much, and he knows now how to ask the questions and how to allow me to hand him some of that weight, which to him is not weight.
In fact, we heard a story about another couple just a couple of nights ago that something had happened in the family, and they're like, this is the decision that has to be made, but I don't want this decision. And so the other one is like, well, what do you want? And they just kept saying, but I don't want this. But what do you want? So it's very important that you identify what you want. And as soon as the other person made the comment, this is what I want. I don't want this to be this way, so I want this. He says, fine. Make me the scapegoat.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal for him.
Yeah.
All he was saying was,
blame.
I'll take the blame. I'll take the load off of you, but I want to know what you really want.
Right.
So that's the thing. When I'm frustrated or I'm having a struggle, it's like I have to let him know what it is that I really need, and I have to be okay sharing that, as silly as it may sound to me. Know and trust him that he's not going to think I'm silly. He just wants to take that weight because he wants us to be as lightened as we can and equally balanced in these things in life.
And one thing like she's gotten way better at, used to be that I just had to kind of start fishing for it, but now she walks up and like if she's going through a hard day, it's just like she'll just walk up and start to give me a hug saying, I just need a hug, which tells me, okay, I don't need to fix anything here. All I need to do is just be here at the moment for a little while.
Just need some comfort.
Now, and that's difficult for me because even in that situation, I'm sitting there going, okay, for one thing, I'll get mad if it's somebody that's done it. And I want to go phone call them, it's like, I'll call your customer or I'll do whatever and I'll straighten this out. And we all know that's not right either. So
anyway, empathy is a choice. Empathy is very important for you to pursue and unpack together as a couple. Empathy is something you have to practice. It will not happen overnight, but it is one of the most strategic, we're both having a hard time with our words, strategic elements of a successful marriage is to begin to develop that together.
Absolutely. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, go to our Facebook page. If you're interested, we are offering a free marriage coaching session to anybody right now that would like to set up an appointment with us. We can do it over the phone. It ain't like you have to take a bunch of time out. It lasts 30 to 40 minutes. Just kind of see where you're at, what you're doing, and if you need any additional help getting where you're wanting to go. So it's getting dark enough out here right now that I can't even see me in the camera, and it's probably extremely blurry if you can't. But yeah, we're here to help, and that's why we do these little Facebook Lives. It's not because we like being on here. In fact, Stephanie, she's just always like, I hate seeing myself on there. Now me, I think I look pretty sharp.
It's just weird to watch yourself. It's so weird. If you guys haven't ever done that, you just need to do your own thing just to see what it's like. It's so weird to watch yourself.
So anyway, like I said, we're here to help. If there's anything that you'd like, just like a little encouragement through, a little, not here to say do this, don't do that, but we're just here to kind of help you become laser focused on what you want and help you get to where you want to go and get what you want. So that's what we hope to help you do. So thank you very much for joining us. We hope you have a great evening, and we will see you again next week, same time, hopefully the same place, but don't start getting too cold or rainy, and
or dark.
Yeah, we may have some more lights. So join us again next week.
Have a good one.
See you.